Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A thug will be a thug. Regardless, today the thug might be your friend, but tomorrow he's going to be a thug with you as well, if his interest dictates. So sometimes I, smirk waiting for some beasts, some animals, some wild animals that are domesticated to attack their masters, friends, parents, however you want to call them. So whenever I see some humans, having some pets, as a grizzly bear or a tiger or a lion, I'm waiting. Why? Because I know that one day that animal, wild animal, will do what it does best. Being a wild animal, and it's gonna eat those guys. And usually that's what happens. So the same here. We have Mr. Kurti. Mr. Kurti is the Prime Minister of Kosovo. He was very much supported and helped and everything protected and everything by the West, mainly the United States of America. Well, that's what happens. It happened with the Mujahideen in Afghanistan in 1979, 1980s. Remember when the Americans armed them, trained them, helped them against the Soviet invasion? And then what happened with those Mujahideen? They turned into something else, and then from there they migrated into something else, and then they ended up being something else. And they turned around and attacked whom? The guys who helped them in 1979 and 80s. Why? Because you train certain kind of people, certain kind of characters, and they, once they saw an interest in attacking you, they will do it because that's the way they are. So we have Mr. Kurti here, which, he is the Prime Minister of Kosovo. He was supported, as I said, and now he turned around and is not listening to his masters. He forgot. That's always what happens. Do you remember? I'm going to give you an example from a movie. I don't like movies, but sometimes they ring a chord, they touch a chord, pluck a chord in some people's hearts and memories, and make them a little bit more prone to my BS. Just kidding. Scarface. Remember Al Pacino, Scarface? You remember what he did? He got so big that he forgot that he should not oppose this guy. And when he opposed that guy, what happened? That guy came and destroyed him. So this is Kurti, this is United States of America. They might destroy him, but by replacing him. Because they don't want to just destroy him. They need Kosovo, that area. So they don't need Kurti per se. And Kurti is another, as a friend of mine told me, why should I hire that guy when I have this guy? I said, yeah, but that's, not a good guy. Yeah, but this piece of shit, that's what he said. He had a foam to-go cup, coffee to-go cup. He said, I have this piece of shit. Now, if I fire this piece of shit, I'm going to hire, he turned around the cup, another shit with a different face. I'm the same shit, the same quality, with a different face. Why would I do this? Because I already know this piece of shit, he said. So yeah, they will get rid of Kurti. It's just that we're going to get another one with a different face. And this is not to insult Kurti, but Kurti right now is not listening, not following orders. Whatever he did in northern Kosovo, the province of Kosovo, now the Americans told him, wait, we told you to de-escalate. You didn't give a fuck about it. Guess what we're going to do? We do not tolerate subordination, non-subordination, right? All right, insubordination, that's how it's called, insubordination. So, Yahoo News, Bloomberg, Kosovo leader, this guy, snubs U.S. call to back down in standoff with Serbs. So he knows better. He forgot that without the Americans and NATO defensive alliance, he would have been squashed. But hey, he's got delusional, like most people do when they get to power and they forget. I'm waiting for Zelensky to get at the same point when he's going to think that he is what these guys say he is. He's losing reality, touch with reality. He's gonna really think that he's the more than Napoleon Bonaparte as a general, more than anybody else has courage and cleaner than Jesus Christ. I guarantee you. And that's gonna be his downfall, because at one point he's gonna say no to people who actually keep him alive. And they say, yeah, let me use a Jewish tradition. I wash my hands. Because it was not a Roman tradition, it was a Jewish tradition. That's why Pilate most likely did not do that. That's according to what I read. But if you know better, you are right. So, I just give you a few pieces of information. So, Bloomberg, Kosovo's prime minister, said his police will stay in northern parts of the country where their presence has sparked violent protest, snubbing a demand from the US to defuse the situation. Demand. So the masters demanded, he showed insubordination. This comes from Bloomberg, my friends, not from Russia Today or Sputnik. All right? This is how they wrote. So no, he snubbed. Now, Premier Albin Kurti risked angering an ally that has backstopped his country since its creation, after Secretary of State Antony Blinken blamed his government for the worst outbreak of violence in a decade. Remember, the blaming thing from Antony Blinken could be just a game for us to see. And behind, no, you do the same old thing and we pretend we are upset. Okay? And then we're gonna come and save the day. I'm waiting for that. Oh, he is the one. We just are still the good ones who are going to intervene and save the day for everybody else. Wait for that. Then Kurti will take the fall. Why? Because he knows who's the master. Allies said that Kurti ignored calls to scrap local elections that triggered protests from the ethnic Serb majority in the north of the country. When Serbs boycotted the votes, Kurti again brushed off the concerns of his backers to install ethnic Albanian mayors in a string of Serb-dominated towns. 30 NATO peacekeeper troops and dozens of Serb protesters were hurt in the resulting clashes. As long as, and I'm quoting, as long as there is this violent mob outside who is ready to attack, end quote, then we, and I'm quoting, must have our special units in the municipal buildings, end quote. Kurti said at the GlobeSec security conference in Bratislava, Slovakia on Wednesday. I can see his point on this one. But the problem is all this, was created partly by him appointing those guys. So I understand this. As long as this violent mob outside is ready to attack, I understand that we have to keep our special units. But that would be in a normal society. Do you create that partly this situation? That puts the premier in a precarious position. Kosovo depends on the US and allies for security, economic support, and further progress in the international recognition. He fell out of US favor during former President Donald Trump's administration and was ousted from power in 2020. Now, he's going to tell us here how fantastic Kurti was. Kurti is one of the most popular politicians, lauded for his drive to uproot rampant corruption, blah, blah, blah. He tells about the evil Serbian strongman Milosevic, who he defeated alone. And then we find out about Vučić, who's a weasel, according to Bloomberg, because he was just an information minister for Milosevic during the wars of 1990s. Okay, so we know all this BS here. Now, what is the consequence of Mr. Kurti saying, And here, supposedly, this is the consequence that we all should be like in awe. Listen to this, or read it. Here it is. From the Telegraph, US suspends Kosovo from military exercise for provoking unrest with Serbia. Now, this is the Telegraph, and they say Kurti is, guilty of provoking unrest, all right, according to these guys, because they say US suspends Kosovo from military exercise for provoking unrest with Serbia. And the United States suspended Kosovo from a military exercise as the tiny Balkan nation was accused by its Western allies of provoking a violent crisis with Serbia. Jennifer Hovanier, The US ambassador to Kosovo said the country's troops would be barred from Defender 23, an international drill involving more than 20 countries. I don't think Kurti gives a about that. And I'm quoting, actions taken by the government of Kosovo have created this crisis atmosphere in the north, end quote, Mr. Hovanier said, referring to the forcing of ethnic Albanian mayors on towns dominated by the country's small Serbian minority. Now a question for Mr. Hovanier, the ambassador so-called of the United States in Kosovo, okay? Mr. Hovanier, I know that you and your government pushes diversity in our country as being our strength. Why don't you use the same rhetoric in Kosovo and say, no, actually we like diversity, therefore it's a-okay to appoint Albanian mayors in an, majority dominated region of North Kosovo. Why don't you say, hey, actually, Serbians, diversity is your strength, man. Jesus Christ, we try to teach our Americans this for the past 20 years, and they're getting, because they're, can't say it here, but anyway, why are they not saying that? And they're accusing Kurti of doing something bad by trying to have them diverse, including more inclusion. So they know in reality that creates tensions. But in the United States, no, that doesn't create tensions whatsoever. No. Our differences actually bring us together. Like the tiger will be friend with a sheep or a goat. Yes, for a while. They will be friends for a little bit. They will come together. I don't think the sheep or the goat would like that, but nevertheless, someone will force them together and they will get along just fine. So, you see, sometimes, I would say most of the time, I don't want to say all the time, people who are as they are and you use them in a certain crime or to do something that is not really, that would turn and bite you. It happened too many times. Now, I don't know if this is the game these guys are playing so far or not. Because what's the goal? The goal is to get Serbia be done, recognize Kosovo, and be a no country like Romania or Bulgaria, a yes sir country. And once they get that, they will be in NATO, they will be in European Union. Don't consider these things as being equality. Look what happened to Bosnia. Bosnia has some idea, some Serbs in Bosnia have some idea that they don't like diversity and they want to secede. And the American bombers just flew very low over certain kind of towns in Bosnia to let them know that if they have any ideas of freedom of speech or freedom of expression, or, they'd want to resiliate the contract or divorce, they will not let them do that, because they will keep them by force into a strong, diverse country, because diversity is our strength. Got that? Good. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.